Hey, good morning, Koshik. Just trying to set up here. I tried a short this morning. Off of 70.39 SPX, but I entered around 70.32. The straddle is 26.5. So, sorry, 27. Just I'd hold 27. Try to short. Hopefully it pans out. I don't love taking a trade right at open, but looking for the gap fill, similar to yesterday. Yesterday was very interesting. I was looking at the chart. Something worth looking at here. Hopefully you can see, but wanted to highlight this level here, the upside target, which is, I think we were talking about a positive drift up in the morning. Yeah, I'm in shorts. I'm not sure. It's like not super high probability. But this is around my entry right here. I was trying to get an entry a little earlier, but I wasn't quick enough to execute it. I just didn't hit the sell quick enough. So ideally, I would have gotten it at 70.38, 7.39. On SPX, that is, which would have been 70.74, I believe. Yeah. The value area high would have been golden. But it looks to me that YM and NQ are diverging a little. Yesterday, NQ was on a rocket ship, whereas YM was actually moving down, leading to ES not moving much at all in the morning. Like it was fairly range bound. And then once YM started picking up and NQ picked up, that's when we got the move. But yeah, I just wanted to highlight this. All-time high levels. This was yesterday. Alma's pivot happens to be strategically located at the gap fill, roughly. And then the upside pivot happened to be where all-time high roughly was, which is also the straddle high of yesterday. And then the upside target was roughly where, if you're looking at yesterday's charts, you can see this massive magnet area here. You can see it all up here from like 70.20 and on. And funny enough, that's where we pinned. So the positive drift up was pretty good. Probably shouldn't have taken any shorts yesterday, in my opinion, but today I think it's a little different. Close this down. Today's a little different. If you look at the daily, you're going to see massive potential run towards 70.70 or 70.90, 7100. You can see that with the dark blue area Generally, those are magnetic. Also deep positive gamma. So if the market should want to push up and the dealers have to sell in order to hedge. So you kind of get like grindy move up. Similar to kind of what you got yesterday towards 70-20. But today, I would say it's a bit different from yesterday because we have this massive negative gamma pocket over here, which didn't show up yesterday on the daily. Ideally, we see the gap fill for my short. If we don't, then so be it. This looks a bit funny here to me. The gamma chart looks very odd. Okay, I think we got the gap fill here. Closing out. We have positive skew right now. Means more out of money calls and puts. Okay, I'm out of my shorts. There's something wonky going on with this options depth chart. Let me try refreshing it. Oh, still odd. I don't love the way this looks. This line should not be here because it's a zero gamma line. So it must be glitching and it looks a little bit glitchy around here. We don't normally get that weird bar effect. Yeah, the way I see it is if this is negative gamma here, that's where the zero gamma line should be, around that negative gamma. But over here should generally be positive gamma. How are you measuring skew, by the way? I would have wanted to see NQ sweep that low there. The overnight low, that is. But it might not do it. Something worth doing too, and I'm kind of messing around with it, is if you screenshot something like this and have Claude or ChatGPT run it through it, it does a pretty decent job. I actually think Claude is much better. I discontinued my ChatGPT subscription because Claude was so much better at doing these calcs and coding. 15 million GetSpot update SKU for NDX, SPX, SPY, QQQ, NDX. For some reason, it is not showing SPX today. Oh, that's interesting. That's pretty cool that they have that, the SKU. One of the ways that Vol Signals actually taught me how to, or how he measures SKU is, let's see here. See if I can screenshot it. Probably the easiest way. Yeah, so yeah, one of the ways that Vol Signals tracks SKU, the way he taught me anyways, was basically the implied volatility of a 25 delta put minus the implied volatility of a 25 delta call. 25 delta, see, I wonder where that would be today. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, when I unsubscribed to ChatGPT, it made me answer a slew of questions about why I'm leaving and whether it was political reasons and et cetera, et cetera. I was like, well, Claude is just better. But yeah, so just going back to this, I just wanted to show you this. Something that could be useful later on. I just added it to my notes, and so I can reference it later on. It's tough for us to calculate. Well, it's easy to calculate, but you have to do it manually, which kind of sucks. Whereas if you have the data, you can do these calc. Like if you have the options chains, you can do the calc really easily, just through a bot or an algo of some sort. It can pull the data really easily and then plot it, so you can see the ongoing skew. But for us, I think manually calculating this and then plotting it ourselves is a bit challenging. So I definitely need to resort to someone else's skew calculations. Just for ease of reference. But yeah, showing you yesterday's results. Well, I was just analyzing yesterday's moves and noticed that, hey, this is what's happening here. Where we happen to bounce off a centroid of Alma's, which also happens to be the gap fill And then we moved to all-time high, which was the upside pivot, kind of rejected off of there a little bit, and then finally moved up and moved right to her target. And you can kind of pick up the confluences from a TA perspective based off of the gap fill, the all-time high. The 70-20 level was the positive gamma positioning on the dealers or the market makers positioning and or gamma charts that you can spot pretty much at the beginning of the day. Today we see it at 7100. It could mean a drift up to 7100, but it doesn't necessarily. Like it's not like that can't be the only read of the market that you have. So you still have to play your setups. Like hindsight's always 2020, I hope. And yeah, they're having data issues on OptionsDepth for sure. I'm not relying on this right now. I'm really just looking at the daily, and the daily happened to be hovering around that gamma trough. And I thought a move down to gap fill seemed very reasonable, which is why I shorted. But it looks like it's going to go for maybe the overnight low. NQ already swept the overnight low. I wasn't very patient with the position, mainly because shorting in this market has been a nightmare. So I took it off pretty early. But so I've been inputting this information into Claude to see if we can if it can help decipher where we might go and what it says. Yesterday it did pretty well. I thought a drift up towards the 70-20 level, assuming the 69.50 level held, and we held above 69.50. But yesterday, I think I also mentioned that the vol signals data was a little different from the OptionsDepth data, because it was a 69.65 level that didn't show up on OptionsDepth, but it did show up to vol signals. Now, I give a bit more credit to vol signals, the way that he calculates the positioning. Is 99% of the time it's the same as OD, except that 1%. And I think that 1% showed up yesterday, which is that massive 4K positions at 69.65. And the low of yesterday happened to be 69.66. So playing off that would have been quite easy to go long, I guess, along with the gap fill. It all kind of coincided. But on OptionsDepth, it did not show that information. But again, the cost difference is just astronomical, or that to get that 1% more accurate data. Yeah, the short was the right answer, or the right play. Just didn't hold long enough. Oh, that blows. Yeah, I can't even reference this data. My goodness. I'm gonna have to just use the daily until they fix the data on OptionsDepth. So, one other thing. Let me switch over to the chart. I'm showing SPX here, and I'm showing Alma's levels, just to kind of give you an idea of where those levels are. And yeah, Alma's levels happen to be the upside pivot there, and we basically rejected off of it. And it gave, I don't know, somewhere around 20 points. I think I only like took 7. Yeah. What a shame. Actually, I'm missing her centroid there. Give me one sec. We're at her centroid, and the centroid would have been the bounce. The centroid bounce was 7,008. I'm not sure why it's not showing up. Give me one sec here. There you go. So we bounced off her centroid. Now her centroid should be sticky, is what she has been saying. It's just interesting. Just interesting to watch these levels. But yeah, the VIX yesterday, we made a low at around like 9:45-ish. Nope, sorry, not 9:45-ish. Around 10:30, 10:25. Yeah, VIX yesterday, we made a low at around 10:25. And 10:25, I mean, we topped out at around like 10:25 was not the high of the day. And typically VIX and SPX are inversely correlated. But now they seem to be positively correlated in a sense. Sorry, did I say? One sec. Yeah, as VIX goes down, normally you get a higher SPX move, but VIX started climbing throughout the day till about 12:45, and then you kind of get this move down. But in general, VIX moved higher while SPX also moved higher, is the way I see it. And normally that divergence is something that you want to pay attention to when you get spot up, vol up. It's not normal, so something is happening underneath the hood. So I pay attention to that too. We got a nice bounce off that centroid there. That centroid is like, I'm not seeing much there. From a volume profile perspective, I guess there's somewhat of a tiny low volume node there, but yeah. But Alma does her calcs based off of options positioning and options derivatives. So she does a bunch of like different Greeks and they're like second order, third order, fourth order. I think she even goes fifth order, which is insane. But her model seems to work very well, more often than not, from a daily perspective. Yeah, so Alma was writing this morning that the VIX at 17.5 to 18 should be very supportive. And if we go any lower, then in theory, this bull move would be supported. Might move till 70.64. Yes. So for her centroid, which is roughly what we're hovering at right now, said there's a huge amount of OGT gamma being sold there. Can't say I see it. 7,010. If we look at this from a call put perspective, let's see. $7,010 has market maker, so dealer, long puts, so they are short. And then over here is 70.15. That means they are short. So customers are long this. So customers have long put spreads here. They are long put spreads. Am I right? Anyways, this is why there's this support. It's like my brain is not working. Yeah, I like the bounce. I like it to where you said. Basically to value area low. Yeah, the positioning seems to support it. With 70.10 being a low. VIX is coming off a little. Except YM is continuing its down move. All right, there's some news that came in. That was at 9:52. Iran's planned Hormuz toll to be paid via Iranian banks. Yeah, I really like that move up. I'm not going to enter just because I don't have a great entry. I think it's almost like 1-to-1. Yeah, I kind of wish I got at the centroid. I was a little late to notice that, and was late to make a decision about that. Yeah, so this is in very interesting positioning here. You have a long put spread and then a long call spread. It's almost as if they believe, so it's a customer long put spread and a customer long call spread. So whoever took this massive position, about 4 or 5,000 in sizing, believes that we'll break out of this range to make money. Yeah, and if you throw this into like a Gemini or one of your AI tools and you say, hey, I got a market maker, short 70.15 and 70.15p. So I would write it something like this. Back to yeah, so I would write it something like this. Just in the bottom right hand corner there, just type it into a Gemini and it would like, my Gemini tends to provide analysis on the market implications based on these positions. And right now it currently says that 70.15 is sticky and 70.10 is a support or volatility or a volatility floor. And it's basically supportive until you kind of get a move below it or something like that. And you're going to get the same but opposite from the call spread, the 70.30 call spread and the 70.35. So for the call spread, I'd write something in like and that's how it would look. And you can type that into like a Gemini and say, hey, yeah, from a market maker perspective, how do dealers hedge against this? And it'll be able to tell you, and it should tell you that that it's sticky but supportive. And now, because there's two of them, it's kind of funny because like whoever put this on believes that you'll break out between this range here. And the positioning itself causes market makers or dealers to confine price action into that range between 70.10 and 70.35. Unless there's like something to break it out, which is what you're kind of getting right now. So the positioning itself influences the price action to stay within that price range, even though they're betting, whoever put on that trade is betting on either upside or downside that breaks out of this range. So the only thing that could possibly make that happen is news. News or anything that would cause like a decent volume influx of flows. There you go. There's the long. They went right to value area high on SPX. Oh, sorry, value area low. Hopefully this is all fixed now. Still not fixed. It's getting closer, but it's not fixed. This should be up here. This should be up here. It's like just slightly off. It looks like the gradient is correct. But this is the 0 gamma line here. So it'd be interesting to see what happens once we get to 70.33. That's roughly where zero gamma is. 70.33, 70.35. Whether we reject. I really would have loved to see VWAP hit, which is probably what you roughly had, right? VWAP was around previous day high at 64.50 level, or yeah, 64.50 on ES. Did you have any entry model there for the long? Nothing showed up for me for a long on a TA perspective. It would have to have been off of positioning alone and then Alma's levels. Yeah, that was a tough one. The short this morning, for me, it's tough because normally I would rely on some sort of candle, but I entered a little early. And it wasn't until like maybe the 9:30 doji, so 9:35, when the 9:30 one closed, that it would have been enticing to enter. But it was also value area high. And I thought that the gap also needed to be filled. That's one of the main. And then we were also happened to be right around Alma's upside pivot, which is kind of perfect. And then from a daily gamma chart perspective, I was seeing this yellow line, which is a gamma trough. And I thought we would open somewhere around there. And if we did, I thought we would come down. And we did. I just didn't hold long enough. But it kind of looked like a mess on the 5-minute chart leading up to it, like for the past, I don't know, hour. So since 8 o'clock all the way up to like 9:30, 9:35, 9:40, it kind of looked like one big cluster. Nothing was pretty about that play from a candle reading perspective. Yeah, sorry, the OptionsDepth data doesn't seem to be working well, which is why I'm not really referencing it right now. I'm having a hard time trusting whether or not it looks like the breakdown by strikes is accurate, but the gamma chart is not accurate. Like the zero line is drawn completely offset. Like this should be surrounding the red. And this one here should be up towards 7180. Anyways, I guess we can work with this for the most part. Just disregard the zero gamma lines. Yeah, that's fair. How, what do you think of all this OptionsDepth stuff, and what do you kind of think of this whole dealer and market maker hedging, especially like because you've been watching Doc, and then I guess you watch me for the most part attempt to trade off of it. What are your thoughts on it? I know you're kind of like in the early stages still. So like curious if you think it's like voodoo or don't care for it at all, which is fine too. Because everyone has like their own take on how to read the markets. Or sometimes people think this could be noise. Or you don't have to answer that now. If there's like, if you gotta watch the charts, watch the charts. I'm seeing nothing. That's why. The straddle is still holding strong. It's still about 27 points at the moment. Yeah, that's fair. I think a lot of people have great success with volume profile without the noise of options data. And the trade edge guys, so between Sol and Forrest, Trade with Forrest on YouTube, those two guys, they do a pretty good job of trading volume profile. Though I think Sol trades more actively, whereas Forrest, like they take a lot of trades, but they don't take a lot of trades. They take a lot of swing trades. Not everything is taken intraday, but they read volume profile very well. Trade Edge is like $100 USD a month, and Forrest is free on YouTube, so I use Forrest for the most part, and he has a lot of good content there, teaching you how to trade off of liquidity levels and volume profile levels. But he doesn't stream daily, so which is kind of a challenge. VIX is climbing. VIX is at 19 now. It's above 1013 high, so it's interesting. Like I was watching the 5-minute chart on from that 1030 high, and noticed that we got like a hammer doji candle or shooting star. I don't know what you call that, but it's a massive top wick. And I thought about a short, but I was like, there's not enough juice on that. I mean, it gave almost 10 points, right? From entry, but with only like maybe a 4-point stop loss. So it's not bad, but I would have wanted it to sweep the lows, and I didn't think, I wasn't sure if it would sweep the lows, especially with the centroid being down there and the straddle low. Hang on, maybe I should. All right, I think I'm starting to clean up my charts a little. Well, or making it more clustered, but just showing SPX. Here's the rough straddle low, 27 points. Maybe, yeah, about 27 points. And then Alma centroid is at 7,009. Kind of just worked out really nicely. Similar to yesterday, the straddle high, it was at the straddle high, Alma's levels, which was, I believe, the upside pivot, and it was also all-time highs. So all that led to a rejection eventually. So when there's like confluence at significant confluence at that level, it's kind of perfect. Not to mention the straddle low and the centroid also happens to be where that put spread is located. So all that lines up really nicely. So you're seeing decent support here. NQ is kind of messing around, chopping around here, while YM is actually headed lower towards yesterday's low of day. Okay, I think this is working now. Based on GexBot, are you in negative gamma or positive gamma? It's currently on OptionsDepth, we're showing negative gamma based on a 1020 update. And obviously it adjusts. Looking at the daily, we're still in light positive, and we'll enter some negative gamma later on in the day. But right now, I'm seeing negative gamma on intraday, from an intraday perspective. Straddle right now. Oh, straddle is 25. So generally speaking, if we're headed down, the straddle level will generally hold, because which is what we saw with the 1020 update. It was still hanging around 27 points for the straddle, and it's because the options premium at the money is still 27, mainly because theta burned off, because options premium is theta. It's like a combination of theta and volatility, implied volatility. So as we went down, implied volatility increase, even though time has passed, and time would have trimmed off some of the for Strato. Do you check in Discord or... Oh, I check in Discord. Yeah, it's just a little easier. I don't always have Interactive Broker open, since I only do swing trades on that. But it should be readable on Interactive Broker. I'll have this until like December, I believe. So I'm just going to reference the Vol Signals Discord version. Just going to do a quick read here to see what Claude was viewing for the day, and kind of see how it's doing. Yeah, today it seems Claude is a little less clear. Yesterday it picked up on the 7100, or sorry, 70-20 move to grind up. But today it says, yes, dealers got built out to 7100 with a localized short gamma pocket at 7050 that didn't exist yesterday. Customer side is clearly positioned for continuation, stacked call spreads, 70-20 to 7100. $70.50 short gamma pocket is the acceleration lane. Now that's interesting because Alma also had 7050 as the main pivot. Keep that in mind. It's SPX. If it breaks, then the magnet would be 70, maybe 70, 80, all the way up to 70, 100. Like anything is fair game after that if it breaks. But right now, it seems like we're stuck between that iron condor for the most part. It's gonna be painful if we're just gonna mess around within this range. 70, 30, 70, 10, 70, 35, 70, 10. $60, $70, $65 is 0 gamma on ES. That would be about 10 points higher. So we're looking at about 70, 27. So your 0 gamma level seems to line up with a gamma trough level on OptionsDepth. So yeah, with the data on OptionsDepth, when I copied it over to Claude, I also asked it for how to play it. Just for the heck of it. I mean, there's times when I would play like a call fly or a put fly for a pin. And yesterday would have been a very nice 70-20 pin play. And the reason why you would consider one of those call flies for that play is because you can probably get a call fly for about $200. So about $2 in premium. And then if it settles there at the end of the day, it pays like 10 to 20x. So that $2 would be maybe $2,000 at the end of the day. And generally you would have more than one position because maybe you'll take half off at 100% just to make sure that you're whole if you happen to lose if you happen to lose your runners, so the other half. But the risk reward on a call fly is insane, or a put fly is insane. But it is very dependent on. I find that the options positioning data really helps tell you where a potential pin might be. But yeah, I'm looking at what it's recommending, what Claude is recommending to play. I still got to train it a little bit better, but I'm not loving the call spreads and the put spreads that it's recommending. If spot is already above 70.20 inside the red pocket, tactical trade has shifted. Yeah, it would have bet on upside. But it gives you these very like conditional things, like if spot is already above 70.20, then long call spread. Which would have been completely off today because we opened at 70.39, which is above 70.20, but now we're at 70.12, 70.14. Structural, non-directional, short iron condor. So you're selling premium basically. And you're praying that the structure will hold between 7,000 and 70.80. And then the simpler plays are like naked long calls, long puts. But yeah, right now the read is we're stuck in between 70.10 and 70.35. And we need something huge to break that out. So I don't think I'm going to touch this. Are you thinking about a short? Gotcha. So once it goes up there, you'll wait for your entry model. I think we're finally going to hit VWAP. Like I really thought about a long at the bottom there, but where the second time that we hit that centroid, well, we didn't quite hit it, but almost. But there just wasn't much else to go off of. Like it could have busted through the lows, but in theory, it should have been very supportive. But I would have loved to see an SMT at the lows there. Just didn't get it. Yeah, exactly. It is. I would consider that a put wall too. It's all caused by that 70-10 position. It was a dealer long put, which is a customer short put. All from that put spread, or altogether that range. This is a long iron condor, so they're betting on a breakout. So it's basically like a straddle play or a strangle play. They're expecting a breakout of that. It's not an at the money straddle play. It's just a straddle play of some sort, I believe. Sorry, I think I misspoke. So straddle is normally measured with the same strike price, whereas strangle is different strike prices, but the same premium value. So this I would consider a long put and a long call. So they're betting on upside and downside. They just expressed it in a spread form. But from a dealer hedging perspective, it's kind of preventing the market from moving. It looks like we're kind of getting this drift up now. And we're at 70.25. There's VWAP. I think this goes up another 10 points towards that POC. But also, 10 points would be at top of range. Call it a call wall. Like if 70-10 is a put wall, then technically 70-35 would be a call wall. NQ looks like it might want to come down. We're getting a little 5-minute divergence here. So maybe you might get a nice short play. A nice short scalp down to value area low or something. An SMT divergence on the 5-minute. Oh no, is it on the 5? No, sorry, there's no SMT divergence there. My apologies. That one's on me. But the candle on the 5-minute of NQ looks good. Yeah, for a pullback. There you go. Did you get the confirmation at all? Yeah, and that might be the reason why. Good. Yeah, I'm hating this range, period. Like if I was long off the bottom where that centroid or straddle low is, or put wall, I probably wouldn't have been able to hold up here just based on the way the 5-minute price action was kind of messing around. Yeah, what you said yesterday about liking volatility more, I kind of agree. At least the market would have moved, right? Like, this is brutal. I'm just looking at a few different metrics from a swing perspective to see how quote unquote oversold or overbought we are, but using a different metric. So I like to use a ticker called MMTW, which is the percent of stocks above the 20-day average. And I like to set the levels to alert me between 20 and 80. So if we break up above 80, then we're kind of getting a bit frothy. Breath is very frothy. Everything moved up very fast and likely needs to kind of settle down. It could blast up a bit more above 80, but generally it's something that I keep in mind. If we're above 80, it could be a matter of time where the market starts to pull back. And then under 20 is the same thing, which is like the oversold level. And typically when we crossed over 20 or under 20, then you might see the market bounce, which is what we kind of did off of March 20th. Just something to kind of keep in mind from like a more longer term perspective, more like swing trade perspective. Then you can hold like a more, well, you can hold somewhat of a daily bias based off of that. Yeah, we're going to the top of range there. SPX is still only at 70.28. I have to wonder if the afternoon will have some fireworks for us. Especially if morning chop is like this. $7 p.m. Trump speaks. Oh, that's interesting. That's very odd. Okay. So today is Thursday. We have SPX AM expiration into Friday at around 9:15, 9:30. That's around when SPX AM expiration happens for the monthly. and then we have the end of day Friday expiration. And you'll see the gamma chart and how wonky it looks because there's 2 expirations tomorrow. And you'll see tomorrow morning how that'll look like. Actually, I wonder if I can show this now. I'm gonna have to log in again. No, I can't see it. I'll have to show you tomorrow how that looks like. Yeah, so I think we hit the POC, almost hit the POC, pretty close to it. On the 1 hour we hit it, but the 5 and 15 minute we did not. Seems like we're getting the grind up now. No worries. Take care. Koshik, we'll see you tomorrow. Gonna wait for the NQ sweep, and we'll see what happens there. Come on, NQ. You could have swept, but you didn't. Insane. Yeah, I want to see if NQ can sweep this. And if NQ can sweep it, then maybe we get a little bit of a divergence here. Vol is coming back down. VIX is coming back down. Looks like we're finally breaking out of the range. There's a long iron condor, a long put spread, and a long call spread. Customer long, that is. The 70-35, 70-40 was roughly the high. So it seems like we might finally break out, but we'll see here. Let's see how, if there's a reaction off this NQ sweep of the overnight high. ES also swept, so Ideally, a 70-50 test would be better. Maybe 70-60. Right through the negative gamma level. 54. Yeah, I'm not going to short this yet. Could be enticing, but nothing suggests that we should short it here, besides it sweeping the high a day. Unlike anything here. Maybe 70-50, 70-60 would be nice. 70-60 would be very nice. There should be volume on this candle, but we're not getting it. On the 5 minute. Well, there's still 2 minutes left, so we should get there. Really should continue up. I mean, this is a low risk entry right here. If you believe in that 5-minute candle, a lot of 5-minute candles haven't really panned out lately, so I'm not gonna bet on it. Bit of a divergence here. Between ES and NQ. Straddling the 0 charm line. This thing seems like a drift up to 70.60, so another 20 points up. Especially with 70.30, 7.35 being supportive now. We're in the negative gamma cluster between 70.40 and 70.65. But 70.60 has such a large positioning, so you would expect a rejection somewhere around there. Could reject here still with the liquidity here. Maybe back towards POC at 70. But not certain. Nothing is certain. Not looking particularly great here. YM, it's got a slight pullback, but NQ is continuing to propel. Still hovering up around that pivot area. So maybe we can get 10 points down. Get 10 points down, great. Only for the rocket ship back up. Ooh, there it is. I'm out there. So lucky. What a weird move. Good divergence that seemed to have held well. Now, we'll probably, if the move is up, then we'll probably get that nice drift up towards 70.50. Yeah, that short was pretty decent, but it was basically a sweep play. 5-minute top wick, high volume, and then down. Anyways, I think that's it for me.